say, that it's now a recognized field of studies because there are now job advertised for specialists in Inter-Asia cultural studies. I mean, so, okay, so much for that. Now, of course, this was, as I said, I mean, we started, in the early 90s, so it's almost 30 years. So the time, the context within which the project got started and really became consolidated, I mean, with the first part, the first journal issue came out in the year 2000. And before that, we had already spent 3 years preparing for the journal. But at the time that we launched the journal, it was a time in which Asia was rising. It was the time of sort of triumphal East Asian economic miracle, because and the economic miracle was actually the term used by the World Bank to describe the kind of very rapid and apparent, seemingly unstoppable rapid economic development in East Asia, including by the 1980s, the rise of China economically. So that it was a time where there was a lot of chest thumping about Asia, and we, of course, critical intellectuals, that we were immediately problematized this sentiment and try to deal with it much more critically. But nevertheless, I think the rapid rise of economic actually did sort of define some of the areas in which in Asia culture studies in Asia receive more attention than others. I should say that the journal actually started very consciously because, as I said, most of the members of the committee collective were also involved in local politics. That we had always tried to make connection with civil society activists in all the locations in which we had contact. And so one part of the journal, we try to reserve for reports on civil society activities, political activities that need much more immediate broadcasting rather than the slow review process of normal academic exercise. So, but so we were therefore so the journal does get the research work and the field itself is determined quite heavily by the kind of more euphoric conditions of Helton days of the rise of capital. And I think that the most obvious part of it is for me was that the really rapid expansion of consumer culture and of mass media. I mean, the media, as it turns out, it was at the same time in from the 1990s onwards, the really emergence of a regional cultural economy, pop culture economy in East Asia. First the Japanese export of Japanese pop culture, followed of course by Korean wave, and which is, depending on who you talk to, possibly at its tail end. And there's always been kind of anticipation that the next wave will be from China. But I'll come to China later. China has much bigger ambition than just being in East Asia playground. So actually, particularly, so we saw, at least for me, quite a lot of work, and I organized quite a lot of it around East Asian popular culture. So that's part of one of the books that RAKA had read out. But when I mean, I've been thinking about the changing conditions for 2 or 3 years now, that we are in a completely different